Yo, what's good with y'all? In today's video, I got how to make still a Brainrot. I believe this is part 11 for the series and stuff. I just want to let you guys know that the series is wrapping up as I have covered most everything, and this part covers most of like the last things and stuff like that. The only other stuff left is like mutations, events, and spawning in NPCs with like owner admin level permissions and stuff like that. Whether or not I do those videos depends on how much love this video gets and stuff. As I said when the series first started and stuff. But the series, I want to let you guys know the series is coming to an end as I will be moving on to new series and stuff. So thank you guys for all the love and support y'all show on the channel. So of course I had to hit y'all with a lot of content in part 11. Technically only added two things, but at the same time, this video will be long enough. To be honest, the video might be like 40 minutes to an hour long. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. So first thing I added offline cache, which finally was able to figure this out. It's not like it wasn't a difficult thing at all. It actually only takes like 5 minutes to really add, which is why I decided to include Rebirth as well because offline cache would have been made like the video would have been like 5 to 10 minutes long if I just did offline cache. So I finally um figured out that system and stuff for generating on offline cache while you're not in the game and stuff. You come back and you can retrieve all the money that the NPC earned while you were gone. Then I added a rebirth system as people have been begging a lot for that. So I added a rebirth system, pretty basic and stuff like that. It's gonna display stuff similar to the game, and then like like showing what you'll unlock, how much money you need, the NPCs you're required to have, blah blah blah. Then I also like for the first rebirth, you get additional base time, like when you should unlock your base, and you get a multiplier and stuff, so you earn more base money, like your base amount of money per second for the NPC times the multiplier. So pretty much added multiplier as well as a way to add additional luck base time. So let's go ahead and get straight into this video because it'll be a while. I'm warning you guys, as you can see right here in the bottom right, it is 4:30 in the morning. I'm a little tired, so please bear for me and let's hope for the best. Okay, so first thing first is go ahead and let's knock out UI changes. Or I guess just adding stuff to the UI to be not too long, at least I hope. Find the index button, click that, home at the top, duplicate it, drag it above. This is going to be our rebirth text button. So rename this to rebirth text button, right? Then you're gonna insert a frame into the core GUI, drag this to the middle. You want this to be decently wide. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the rebirth frame 500 by 300, right? Then just drag this so that it's nice and in the middle. So right there. Then I'm gonna make the background color like a kind of darkish but still lightish gray, 0.5 background transparency, right? Then we're gonna start adding some other UI elements. We're gonna well, first things first, let's go ahead and let's first rename this to what's the word I'm what's the word I'm looking up? Rebirth frame. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so let's name this to rebirth frame, right? So we'll name it to that. So rebirth frame. Then let's go ahead and insert a text label into it. So plus icon text label, just drag this to like the top middle. Then username is rebirth text label. This is just our header. So we're just simply going to scroll down. Bold text, rich text, skill text. Please make sure you pay attention to everything I'm doing in this video. I can see a lot of people making a lot of mistakes and stuff and causing issues. Please make sure you do everything exactly as I do it, unless I tell you otherwise. As always, things like text color, font, size, and everything, that's up to you guys. That doesn't matter. Most importantly, it's just names and stuff. So, we'll set the text to rebirth. Text color will be white. Text stroke color will be black. Text stroke transparency will be set to 0. Then if I scroll up, I want the background color to be a nice gray. So you have something like that. Boom, a nice gray like that. Then I'm gonna go ahead and click the rebirth text label. I'm gonna duplicate this by selecting it and pressing Control plus D on the keyboard, or just top left, home, duplicate. And then I'm gonna go place it right under it. I'm gonna make this a lot smaller, so like probably 30. So yeah, something like this, yeah. And then just drag it down a little bit, right? And then what you want to do is you want to rename this to unlock text label. Again, it's just acts as another header, so unlock text label. And then for this, you want the text color to be a nice gold kind of color, so yellow. And then we're just simply gonna put you will unlock colon. So it's gonna tell you the stuff you'll unlock, and then we can set background transparency to 1. Let's say the stuff that you're gonna unlock, right? Then we can go ahead and insert a frame into our rebirth frames, insert a frame into it, right? And then for this, you can go ahead and rename this to unlock frame. Size, you could do 350 by 50. So 350 comma 50, right? So something like that. Then you'll want to just drag this to align it with the middle. Background color, we want this to be like a nice dark gray. And then we'll just set background transparency to 0.5, right? We'll do something like that. We want it to be right under, the you will unlock text, right? Then inside the unlock frame, you want to insert a UI grid layout. So type UI grid layout. So it controls the size and positioning of the UI elements inside of it. So for me, I set the cell size to 80 by 50, so 80 comma 50, and then I also change this to 10 by 5, 10 comma 5. You guys can change this to your liking, of course. And then once you're done with that, great thing is we can just copy and paste the services sometime. So let's select the unlock frame and the unlock text label at the same time. So by holding the control or the CTRL keybind and left clicking, we can select them both at the same time. We'll click duplicate, and then we'll just simply move these down here to be right under it, right? So find your second text label, rename this to, you want to rename this to requirements text label, just another header, right? And then the text, you'll just simply put requirements with a colon, right? And then, so this is going to be a little different. So with the second frame, right, you want to rename this to requirements frame, and then that's just it for the frame. And then what you want to do is you want to move this down a significant amount, right? Because you want to make room for something else. So then let's find one of the text labels. Let's do the unlock text label. Then we'll just duplicate this. So Control plus D, or home at the top left, and then duplicate. Then I want to drag this like right under it. And then what you want to do is you want to set the background color to black, set the background transparency to 0, and then we'll just make it nice and wide. So I think something like this, and then I think that can fit. Or I think 550, I think should be able to fit. Or no, that's still too wide. So like 500. Wrong thing. Okay, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and undo that. So I think 500, yeah, 500 by 30 will work. So it should look like this. Then you want to rename this text label to money requirements text label. This is going to be how much money you need. It'll say like however much money you currently have slash how much money you need to reach next rebirth. By default, obviously you don't need any text. You can just set the text color to like green, like green or something like that. So yeah, that's the money requirement text label. And then we already renamed the requirements frame. The last thing we need is a rebirth text button. And just to clarify, not, oh, my bad, actually, I just realized. So go back to the rebirth text button out here. The text is supposed to be set to rebirth, my bad, not index. But yeah, so then we're gonna make a rebirth text button. I do want to clarify, this is the rebirth text button that actually opens the menu, for the rebirth thing, but this is gonna be the actual button you click to. The button we're about to make is about to be the actual button you click to um attempt to, move up the next rebirth level, I guess is the best way to phrase it. But we need a close button as well, so let's go ahead and open up the index frame, find your close text button, click on it, home, copy, close that, go back, right click on rebirth frame, paste into, drag this to the top right. I'm just gonna make the background color just an even darker red. Boom. Then we can just go ahead and duplicate this, drag this all the way to the bottom. I'm just gonna move this up so it's just like right there. Then I'm just gonna move this down. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the rebirth frame a little bit. I'm gonna make it 500 by 350, simply just because we need more room for the rebirth text button down here. So this would be rebirth text button, right? This would be the actual button you click to rebirth, and then you just put for the text, you just put rebirth, right? And then obviously we need to increase the width, so we'll do like 150 perhaps. I think that should be fine. There's bottom middle. Um, Background color will just be a kind of orange kind of color. Just be a kind of orange kind of color. Like that. Yep, there we go. So Rebirth. And then just like that, we are done with all the UI changes. Okay. So then by default, Rebirth frame should not be visible, right? Or actually, let's leave this at the visible actually, because I did want to show you guys. So you guys recall how we made the unit frame template? So we need to make two more templates and stuff for the requirements frame and the rebirth frame. So we need, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and make the item frame template. So let's see. So inside of the unlock frame, let's insert a frame into it, right? Boom, insert a frame into it. You want to go ahead and rename this frame to item frame template, right? So item frame template. Let's go ahead and make the background color like an even darker gray black. Background transparency, we set to 0.5, right? Then I will give this a small little border. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna insert a text label into it, and then keep in mind it's gonna be very small and stuff, right? So we want this to, we could do like 25 by 25. What we want this to do is, this is going to be the name text label, which should be at the top. So you could just set the size like too wide, so like 80, yeah. So there we go, 80 by 25 and stuff. Now, for size, this may not, if you did like a different size for your UI grid layout or your frame in general, you may need to do a different size, which is perfectly fine. The size does not matter. You guys can set the size to whatever you want it to be. That doesn't matter as long as you know it looks good for you. It works. Most importantly is the names. That's really what's important. Then you want to rename this to name text label. This is going to be the name of the item that the player is going to unlock. Then let's go down, bold text, rich text, scale text. We'll do white text color with text with a black texture color, and texture transparency will be set to 0. Then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and clear the text by default, and I'll also set background transparency to 1. Then I will duplicate this, so while having it selected, I'll press Control plus D. Then what I will do is I will drag this to the on second thought, let me set the background transparency to 0.5 so I can actually move this. Then what I want to do is I want to drag this to the bottom, right? So we can have both of them. Then for the second one, again, background transparency we set to 1. For this, you just want to set this to value text label. So this is going to be the value. So for example, you could have name set to multiplier, and then value will be, oh, you unlock a 1.5 times multiplier, which is going to be what I'm going to do. So now we have our item frame template, right? Very nice, very simple. Then what you can do is you can click that, duplicate it, drag it over to the requirements frame, and then this is just going to be a teensy bit different, just a little bit. Name text label remains the same. The only difference is we're replacing value text label with a unit image. Um, and that's because this is, requirements requires you to have a certain amount of money as well as certain NPCs unlocked. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the unit frame template. You can just find the unit image label, copy that, come back, right click on the item frame template, paste into. You want to rename this one. So this is the top one with the item frame template. This one is going to be the NPC item. This is just so we can differentiate between both templates. So this is the NPC item frame template. So you'll notice this, obviously, the picture is a little too big at the moment, so we'll set this to like 25. It's gonna be pretty tiny and stuff, unless you choose to, make that a little bigger. Um, like 30 by 30, and that should leave room for the name at the top. Yep, there you go. Room for the name at the top, and then we have our picture right here. Um, yep, like right there. Okay. Yep, so there we go. You have your unit image label, and then by default, obviously, we don't want any image, so I'll just go ahead and clear the image. So bam, right? And then we are now done with our template. So you can grab both of them. Again, hold the Ctrl keybind or Control keybind, and select both of them. And then just simply we're just gonna drag them over to replicated storage, right? Boom. And now we're done with the UI. Okay, close all that out. Click Rebirth Frame, sets visibility to false. Then the one last thing we need to do is set up a Rebirth folder. Then we can actually get into the coding stuff. So head on over to replicated storage. We're making something else. So just like we made the NPC image folder. Also a little note about that. Make sure your image folder is up to date with all of your NPCs and stuff, with all the correct images and everything, because we will need this for the Rebirth system. Um, but yeah, so then we're going to insert another folder into replicated storage. This is going to be called the Rebirth folder. It's going to hold all the information. So what we're gonna do, so the way this is gonna work is, right, I need you guys to pay very close attention. So you're gonna insert another folder into this folder, right? You're then going to name that folder whatever number the rebirth is. So obviously the first rebirth, you're going from 0 to 1, so it'd be 1. The second one would be 2. So if you're doing the second one, you would just simply duplicate this folder and then just set it to 2. And then so on and so forth. That simple, right? So I'm only gonna do the first one. Right now, the way this works is, right, inside of this folder, you're gonna have two kinds of values, name unlock and requirement, right? And they're gonna all be string values. So click the plus icon, insert a string value, right? This is going to be called name unlock. The reason why we don't simply just name it, we don't just set its name to name is I just really entered the question in itself because there's a property called name, so it would be kind of stupid to have a value called name. That'd be kind of dumb. So name unlock, right? The name unlock, that's the value of whatever it is you're unlocking, whether it be a tool, a multiplier, and stuff. So for this first thing, it's gonna be a multiplier. So for sure, we're just gonna say multi. By the way, the text you put here doesn't really matter aside from like the NPC names. That's what really matters, the NPC names. Most of when we actually check the stuff, like to see if you meet all the requirements, that's mostly done via the script. Like we're not really using these values to check anything. This is mostly just to display stuff for the player and stuff, right? Then you're gonna insert another string value into this string value. So boom, another string value. You're going to set the name to whatever the player is unlocking. Then you're going to set the string value inside of name unlock to value unlock. Again, the same thing. There's already there's a property called value, so we need to add on the word. We need to add onto it. So then for the value, you're going to set that to whatever the like value of it is. So if you're you have the name of this and then you have the value of it. So since the name is multiplier, the value of course would be whatever the multiplier is. So we're going to say x 1.5, right? Then from there, let me just make sure we are good. Okay, we're good, right? Then from there, we're just going to duplicate this and then just add on information. So select it, duplicate, right? Great thing is you keep the same names, you're literally just changing the values. So for the second one, we're going to have a cash where, the player has pretty much starting cash. And then we're going to set this to 5,000, just like in the actual game, right? Then again, duplicate. Then for the second one, or well, sorry, the third one, you're gonna also unlock something for lock base, and then the value unlock, you're gonna get plus, my bad, you're gonna get plus 10 seconds. So boom, right, and then we're done with name unlock. Now for something similar, requirements. These are gonna be the requirements. So again, you could just duplicate this, and then we're just going to simply rename it to requirement. Right? The reason why we can just put requirement is because there is no property called requirement. So we don't have to put requirement unlock. We can just set it as requirement. So for this first thing, for first requirement, it's going to be a money requirement, right? Very important. Make sure you're spelling everything exactly as I am and you're naming everything exactly as I am, or else this will not work properly. So we have requirements, then we have the requirement value. So you're going to want to rename this to requirements value, right? Again, you can't just put value, so we're going to put requirement value. So for this, just gonna put a money symbol and put 1M. So keep in mind that this is all just to display to the player. This isn't actually checking anything, so you can really add symbols and all that greatness and stuff, right? So that's the first requirement. It's a money requirement. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna select it, duplicate in the top left. For the second one, very important. So you're gonna have two types of, to my understanding, in still Brainrot, there are only two types of requirements: NPCs and money, and I'm only doing both of those anyway. So first thing we did money, right? Second thing is NPC, because the if statements are going to check to see what the requirement type is based off of. So if it's NPC, it's going to see if the player owns whatever name you put here. So it is very important that the name you put here matches the exact name inside of NPC folder. Very important. So I recommend just copying and pasting just to be safe. So for this, I'm going to get Nubini Pizzanini. So I'm just going to Control C, Control V for its value. So name NPC. So the value of requirement should be the NPC, and then the value of requirement value will be the name of the NPC. And then we're just gonna have two NPC requirements, and then just duplicate this, right? NPC again, and then for the second one, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have it set to Talpa di Ferro. Then we're just going to copy again. Make sure the names match exactly as is. And then Control V. Um, Control V. I don't know why that's doing that. Okay, that's very strange. Let's do this. Control C, and then let's just come back and try again. Okay, there we go. So top of deferral. Okay. So we now have how damn I can't talk. We now have our requirements. Now, of course, you could add more NPC requirements and stuff. It's completely up to you. It's just important that you guys name everything exactly as I've named it. That's really the most important thing. And then now we're done with the rebirth folder. Like I said, you could just duplicate this and then throw a 2 on there, or replace the 1 with a 2, and then you have your second rebirth stage. Now, guys, we can finally get into our favorite part, the actual coding stuff. So let's go ahead and let's open up the core local script. First things first is create a variable for our rebirth folder that we just finished creating. So after core GUI, we're going to create a variable. So rebirth folder is equal to game the replicated storage toy for child. Rebirth folder, right? Then what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down just a teensy bit. So right here, um, what we're gonna go on ahead and do is we're going to, like I said, with lock base, I added to where you can have additional lock base time, which means we're gonna have to adjust the duration and stuff, right? It won't always be the same value and stuff. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a variable after base called duration, which will be equal to R2. We'll send over that information from the server side, then go down to the for loop, replace the 60 or whatever number you had here with duration. So it starts from that number. Then we're gonna go all the way down. We're done. Those are the only changes. Now it's on to actually adding stuff. So after that, now we're gonna set up the rebirth text button. So we're gonna say core GUI.rebirth text button. Again, keep in mind this is when you're trying to open the frame. So dot activated connect function, close parentheses, press enter. We're then gonna get the specific rebirth folder, which is similar to how we get the specific NPC folder. Keep in mind in this particular case that the only option it could be is 1 in this particular case. So we're going to create a variable. So specific rebirth folder should be equal to rebirth folder, find for child, player, dot leader stats, dot rebirths, dot value. Now keep in mind it should be plus 1. Reason for that is again is you're pretty much just adding 1 because you start off with a rebirth of 0. So then you're trying to move to the next one. So we're just gonna say plus 1, right? Then we're gonna say if specific rebirth folder. So if we found the folder, press enter. We're gonna use 2 for loops to go ahead and clear out the item frame template as well. Or sorry, not the item frame template. We're gonna use for loops to clear out the unlock frame and the requirements frame in case there were still old UI elements in there. So we're gonna say for I comma v in I pairs. Then you're gonna say core GUI dot rebirth frame. Or actually, yeah, rebirth frame dot unlock frame get children. Then you're gonna press enter. You're gonna say if v is a frame, enter v destroy. Right, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna skip 2 ends and then just do the same thing. We could just select all of this and then just press Control plus C. So Control plus C, Control plus V, right? And then just replace this with requirements. I don't know why it's not autofilling. Oh wait, no, I don't know why it's dot requirement, but yeah, we're gonna put dot requirements frame. Um, requirements frame. So make sure you spell that right. Skip 2 ends once again, then set up another for loop. Then you're gonna say for I comma v and I pairs. And I pairs, and then you're gonna say specific rebirth folder, get children, press enter. Keep in mind that is referring to this in our particular case. This one we have 1 folder. What we're gonna first do is we're gonna say if v.name is equal to name unlock. This is what I mean when I said things are very specific. Press enter. Then we're gonna clone over the template. So we're gonna say item frame template is equal to game the replicated storage dot item frame template clone, and we'll say item frame. Oh, I just realized how stupid I am. This is just supposed to say item frame. My bad, guys. But yeah, then we're gonna say item frame dot name text label dot text is equal to v dot value. Keep in mind v is these instances, these one of these 6 instances, and then we'll say item frame dot value text label dot text is equal to v dot value unlock dot value. So whatever the pretty much whatever the whatever you're actually getting and stuff, because the first thing is just the name of it. This is the actual thing, like if you're getting a 1.5% multiplier boost, whatever the case may be. Then you're going to say item frame dot parent is equal to core GUI dot rebirth frame dot unlock frame, right? Since that's for that specific one, then press enter. Then you'll say else if v.name is equal to in quotation marks, and you will put requirement. Press enter, right? Then you'll say if v.value is equal to money. Press enter, right? So if it's equal to money, right, then what we need to do is we need to update the UI. We're going to say core GUI dot rebirth frame dot money requirement text label dot text is equal to in quotation marks, put the money symbol dot dot dot. On the outside, you're going to say player dot leader stats dot cash dot value dot 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 quotation marks forward slash on the outside dot dot dot, and then you're going to put v dot requirements value dot value. So how much cash the player has, pretty much, with a slash in between, how much they need. Then after that, press enter. Then you'll say else if v dot value, because that was for money requirement. This is for NPC requirement. Press enter, right? So from there, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and do the same thing with the frame and stuff. So what we can do is we can really just copy and paste this code right here. So we could just go ahead and copy this, paste this right here. Um, and then you could just go on ahead and name this NPC item frame again, just to distinguish between the two. So Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, and then just change this to NPC item frame template, right? Then what you're going to do is you're going to update the name text label. So name text label should still be equal. So this time it'll be a little different. So this time it'll be v requirements. Wait, because name was equal to, yeah. So this time name will be equal to v requirement value dot value. Please don't get the two of them confused. Then after that we need to get the image ID. So we'll create a variable. So image ID, we don't need this because yeah, we don't need this. We can delete that. So we're gonna get the image ID. So we're gonna say is equal to in quotation marks RBX asset ID colon 2 / just go on the outside dot dot dot. Then you're gonna say npc image folder regular bracket v dot requirements value dot value go on the outside dot value, right? So then, oh my bad, there's supposed to be dot dot dots right there, right? So pretty much it's just getting the name of the NPC. This is just the name of the NPC, and then you're just getting the value, which is the you know the numbers from the NPC image folder, right? Then after that, you're gonna say NPC image folder, NPC. You're gonna say NPC. Oh my bad, not NPC image folder. NPC item frame. That's what you're meant to get. Again, guys, I am tired. But you're gonna say that unit image label dot image is equal to image ID. Then you're gonna say NPC item frame dot unit image label dot image transparency is equal to 0.5. Then you're gonna say NPC item frame dot unit image label dot image color 3 is equal to color 3 dot new. We'll say 0.19 by 0.19 by 0.19. And then if they currently, so I did remember that it's not just about having only unit. You have to like currently at the moment own it and stuff. So I did make sure to include that. So after we parent it, we're gonna run a loop to ensure that they own it. Or actually, probably best to, yeah, actually, no, it wouldn't matter. So we'll say for, so since we're already inside of a loop, we're gonna say for j comma f in I pairs. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna say player dot owned. Again, make sure you do owned units, not all owned units. So owned units get children close parentheses. Press enter on the outside. Then you'll say if f dot value is equal to v dot requirements dot value. Press enter. So if you find an NPC with that name, then you'll say NPC item. You see NPC item frame dot unit image label dot image transparency is equal to 0, right? Then we'll say NPC item frame dot unit image label dot image color 3 is equal to color 3 dot new comma 1 comma 1 comma 1, so white essentially, right? Then after that, we are pretty much done. So right before the last two ends, right, you're gonna skip 5 ends, so press enter. Then you're gonna set the frame to visible. You're gonna make it visible. So rebirth frame dot visible is equal to true. It will amaze me if we make it to the end of this video without any bugs. It would genuinely amaze me. Now for the last couple functions. After that, we're going to say core GUI.rebirth frame dot close text button dot activated connect function close parentheses press enter. So we're just going to wrap this up. Core GUI.rebirth frame dot visible is set to false since they want to close it. Then we're going to say core GUI dot rebirth frame dot rebirth text button dot activated connects function close parentheses press enter. Then you'll fire the remote event. You'll say core event fire server in quotation marks. You're going to put rebirth, right? And then again, just periodically making sure we're good. Okay, so we're done with that. We're finally done with the local script. Now we move on to the server script, which really just houses a lot more changes than actually new content. So at the top, we're going to create a variable for our rebirth folder up here. So we're going to create a variable. So rebirth folder is equal to game.replicated storage wait for child rebirth folder, right? Then as we scroll down here, we need to add some stuff since this is the block-based functionality. So we're going to go after this value, press enter a few times. Then we're going to create a variable for the player. So it's equal to game.players, find first child, hit.parents.name, right? Then we're going to set up a variable for the duration. So you can put whatever your default duration is. I'm going to put 60 for 60 seconds, right? Then what you're going to do is you're going to use an if statement. You're going to say if player.rebirth, you're going to calculate this. So if player.rebirth.value is equal to 1, which means they've rebirthed at least once, press enter, then duration equal to 70. So an extra 10 seconds. When you're ready to add more rebirths, you can just say else if player.rebirths.value is equal to 2, and then vice versa. Well, not vice versa, but more like etc. Stuff like that. So very simple. Then lastly, you do want to send two things. You do want to send over, so comma right here. You do want to send over the specific duration. You want to replace the 60 seconds with the duration variable, right? Then you want to scroll down to the load player, say the load player data function. So we do need to add two values after saving cache. What we want to do is first things first. Again, we're doing offline cache, so we want to save the last time the player was online. So player dot last time online dot value is equal to stats data regular bracket 4. Then next line, next thing is the multiplier. So player dot multiplier dot value is equal to stats data regular brackets 5. Again, I am very tired, I'm gonna lie to y'all. Then scroll down, you'll see if owned units data. So right here, what we're gonna do is right here, we're gonna simply calculate how much offline cache the player earned. So after updating the assigned platform variable, we're then going to go right here and calculate it. So first thing first is create a variable for time elapsed. So time elapsed is how much time has passed by, and I think it's like milliseconds since the player was last in game. So we're gonna say is equal to os.time, which is the current time, and I believe it's in milliseconds. I think os time. And then we're gonna say we're gonna calculate that real quick. We're gonna say minus player dot last time online dot value. Then we're gonna calculate how much offline cash the player earns. So offline cash is equal to specific NPC folder dot money per second dot value times time elapsed, right? Very nice and simple. And then we're also going to multiply that times our multiplier. So we're also going to say player dot multiplier dot value, right? So boom. Then after that, we're gonna just round it. So offline cache is equal to math dot floor. Then offline cache, you're just gonna simply round it up. Then lastly, you're just gonna say money plus equal offline cache. So just add that onto it, right? Now we scroll down to our added function. Now we're going to start adding those other values and stuff. So the last time online value and the multiplier value. So you can just copy and paste status. So copy, go right here, press enter, paste, press enter again, and then paste. Okay, so for the first value, this will be last time online. So Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, right? This is actually going to be a number value, right? It's going to be just a long set of numbers. So the value by default, you can just set that to we'll just, I guess you can set it to 1, I guess. last time online. Then for the last thing, we have multiplier. This is very important. So multiplier. So you're just going to Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V. Oh my bad. Control V, Control V. Um, so for the multiplier, of course, this is again another number value. By default, this should be set to 1. If you set this to 0, what's going to happen is it's going to multiply by 0, which I would hope you know. I would pray you know that any number times 0 is going to be 0. So that wouldn't work. So once we've done, we've parented all that stuff, we replaced it with its names and stuff, made sure they're number values. Then you're gonna just go down to the save player data function, right? We finished loading. Now to save. Okay, so right here, but remember, don't forget our commas. These are commas, by the way. So player dot last time online dot value, comma, player dot multiplier dot value, right? Then after that, we're going to go down to the game that player removing function. Then go right here, press enter. What we're going to do is record the current time the player is leaving. So we'll say player dot last time online dot value is equal to os dot time, which is again the current time in like milliseconds, I believe. Then we're going to go down right here to the on event stuff. So scroll down some more. Skip 2 ends. If you want to skip 2 ends, press enter. Then you're going to say else if event type is equal to rebirth, and then the server side is going to handle all the verification stuff. Press enter again with a specific NPC folder, so create a variable. So specific, specific rebirth folder. My bad. Specific rebirth folder is equal to rebirth folder. Find first child. You're gonna say player dot leader stats dot rebirth dot value +1, right? Then what you're gonna say is you're gonna say if specific rebirth folder, if they were able to find it. Then you're gonna say if not specific rebirth folder, or wait, no, I feel like I did that wrong. Oh wait, my bad, I know what I did. You're gonna say, my bad, you're gonna say if not specific rebirth folder right here, right? If not, then return, we'll end this function. But if we do find it, we're gonna say if specific rebirth folder dot name is equal to, so you're gonna set up your code for all your different rebirths here. So I'm setting up 1 right now, so I'm gonna put 1. Remember, it has to be a string. Do not do this. Do not put an actual number. Keep in mind, names of things are strings, so set this to 1 in quotation marks. Press enter. When you're ready to do the next one, you're just gonna say else if specific rebirth folder dot name is equal to 2, and then press enter, and then so forth and so on. That's really it, right? Now we're gonna set up the rebirth stuff. So first things first, we're the money requirement. We need to make sure that the player meets all the requirements. So money requirement um is set to false, will be a boolean. Then we'll set up the all NPC requirement, which just means that the player has all NPCs required that they're required to own is set to 0, right? Then the current NPC count, which is going to be how many NPCs the player currently has, and stuff that fit the description of the NPCs they need to have. So current NPC, we're gonna call this current NPC count. Set them both to 0. Now after that, we're gonna go ahead and use a for loop. We're gonna say for I, comma v in I pairs specific rebirth folder colon get children. Press enter. Then you'll say if v dot name is equal to in quotation marks requirement and v dot value is equal to in quotation marks NPC, right? So if this is an NPC requirement, press enter, right? You're simply just going to say all NPC requirement plus equal 1, which means that it was able to find the value inside of the owned units folder, which means the player in fact or oh sorry, I have this wrong actually, sorry. What this means is that it's going to go through and increment by 1 each time there's a specific NPC required and stuff like that. Then it'll check to see which units the player currently has to see if they currently have any units that match the names. Then it'll just count it. It'll increase by 1 every time they have a unit that matches the name. So that's how we'll be able to check. Now for the money requirement, so we're setting up the main loop now. We're going to say for I comma v in I pairs. Then you're going to say specific rebirth folder colon get children, enter, then you'll say if v.name is equal to in quotation marks, you're going to put requirement, go on the outside, press enter. Then you'll say if v dot value is equal to in quotation marks money, press enter. So if it is a money requirement, right? Then you'll say if player dot leader stats dot cash dot value, very important. You're gonna say is greater than or equal to. Then here's where you're gonna put whatever amount. So for me, I put in. So for me right here, I put. Do not rely on these values, by the way. Like okay, we're not using these. So I put $1 million. So I'm just gonna put a million. So one, one, two, three, one, two, three. Right. So I'm gonna put $1 million. Right. That simple. Then press enter. Then if that's fulfilled, we'll say money requirement is equal to true. Right. You're gonna skip one end, then put else if v dot value is equal to I kind of want to say NPC. Else if v dot value is equal to in quotation marks, then you're gonna put NPC, then press enter, right? From there you're then gonna use another for loop, I should say, for j comma f in I pairs. This time you will say player dot owned units get chosen. The reason we need to do this is because remember owned units, the names of them are the assigned platform names, not the name of the units. Press enter. Which means we pretty much have to do more work. So we're just gonna say if f dot name is equal to v dot requirements value dot value. Press enter. Then current NPC count plus equal 1. Then we'll check at the end to make sure that that count matches up. Okay, then after skipping 5 ends, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So after skipping 5 ends, next thing you're gonna set an if statement. You're gonna say if money requirement is equal to true and current NPC count is equal to all NPC requirement. Press enter, then you'll start resetting a whole bunch of stuff. You'll reset the leader stats. So player dot leader stats dot rebirths dot value. This is probably the only thing that increases. You'll say plus equal 1. Then you'll say player dot leader stats dot cash dot value is equal to whatever you put. I put that you get $5,000 cash when you rebirth the first time, but it's up to you guys. And then we'll set the multiplier. So player dot multiplier dot value set to 1.5. So again, you need to set it something past 1, right? Then after that, you're going to remove all of the units they currently own and stuff. Not all units, but the units they currently own. So for I comma v and I pairs, and then player dot owned units get chosen. I'm just going to get rid of all those values. Close parentheses. Press enter. Then you'll say v destroy, right? Then skip the end, right? That one end, and then you set up another for loop. You will then get rid of all the NPCs. I think ironically we could actually just go up and just find the player removing function, and then yeah, so the data, yeah, this stuff right here. Um, yeah, literally this stuff right here. So yeah, this entire part right here. So you see we have the if statement down to these 3 ends. So just copy that, and then we'll just take this, and it'll save us a whole bunch of time. So then if I scroll all the way back down here, press enter, right? What we're gonna do is we're just gonna replace this stuff. So we're gonna dang, actually, how am I gonna make this work? What I'm gonna do is I'm going to delete this line. I'm gonna say for I comma v and I pairs. Then I'm going to say workspace. I'm gonna say workspace get children, right? Then what we can do is we can delete the second line. You know what? Actually, never mind. I feel like I'm confusing you guys. So never mind. Ignore what I was doing because I might confuse people. I know I do confuse people when I do copy and paste and stuff like that. So we're just gonna type this from scratch. We're just gonna say for I comma v in I pairs workspace colon get children. Press enter. Then you'll say if v find first child owner. We're looking for a base and v dot owner dot value is equal to said player's name. So we're looking for their specific base. Press enter. Then you can say base is equal to v, right? Then you'll say for j comma f is inside of another loop, and inside of another loop, then in I pairs, you will say base get children. We need to get the platforms. Press enter. Then you will say if string dot find, you will say if string dot find f dot name comma in quotation marks platform, right? Press enter. Then you'll create a variable for it. Platform is equal to f. Then you'll say if platform find first child, if you find a rig inside of it, press enter. Then you'll say platform dot current unit dot value is set to none, so it's default value. Then you'll say platform dot collector dot collector GUI dot collect text label dot text equal to an empty string, and then press enter, and then just copy and paste, right? For the second, so then for the second thing, this is gonna be the money text label. So money text label, right? Then you'll create a variable for the rig is equal to platform.rig. Then you'll say rig.status.value is equal to inactive. And then lastly, you will destroy said rig, right? Then boom, once you're done with that, we should be good to go. Just one more slight modification. So open up the server script, then go to the core module. Since we added the multiplier, we just need to do one simple thing. I honestly thought it'd be a lot more than this. All we need to do is add to the generate money function. What we need to do is we need to go up here. So in between the while loop, so press enter to give some space. We need to get the player, so find the player, which is equal to game.players colon find first child. Then you just say assign platform dot parent dot owner dot value, because remember assigned platform dot parent is simply the base. That's the base. The owner is whoever owns it, then dot value is pretty much the player's username, and I spelled that wrong. So player, then what you're gonna do is you're gonna come down here. So this part right here where you're doing the money per second thing, you want to multiply that times the multiplier value. So times player dot multiplier dot value, and then now we're done. We can go ahead and test to make sure everything works. As always, if you guys want access to any one of my scripts or models, this included, read the description and find out how to get access to that. Just look at the description. Okay, so one important thing I did want to mention and stuff, right? So things do get kind of weird when it comes to testing and stuff, only for the fact that you're a developer and you already have stuff data saved. So a very important thing, make sure you set multiplier to 1 over testing. You don't want the stuff to, don't set it to 0, and then it gets weird. Now, if you get this message, right, when you press play, and oh, see, there we go, mistake. This is why I test. I spelled this wrong. I can already tell. Wait, did I multiplier? Wait, didn't I spell multiplier? Am I stupid? I swear that's how you spell multi. That's literally how you spell multiplier. What? Multiplier. Bro, am I stupid? Hold on, guys. Might be a little stupid. I'm starting to question myself, my intelligence, because multi. Oh, I see. Oh, my bad. Capital P, capital P. I didn't see that. Okay, there we go. I didn't see that before. Okay. So inside of players, okay, there we go. Now I have everything. So I have last time online, which is currently being saved. I have my multiplier, which is set to 1 by default. So very important. Let's say for whatever reason your multiplier isn't set to 1 already by default. Switch to the server side. Make sure whenever you change any of these values, make sure you switch to the server side if you want it to actually save. Then just open up your player, right? Set your multiplier to 1. Make sure that's set to 1. Yeah, that's really it for that. Um, so I already did the rebirth during testing, obviously, but if I click rebirth, look what happens. Haha, I forgot. Okay. Again, this is why I test. Okay, so my bad, guys. Just do everything I did. So obviously, when I'm pointing out the capital P, please change that. So back here, local script. Back here, the rebirth text button that activated. This part, remember, you guys see how all this says requirement values. Control C, Control V. It makes it very easy to forget that it's requirement value dot value, since we're usually just doing referencing it then saying that value. But yeah, so fix that. I'm gonna crash out. Okay, we're gonna go back. Like it's close to tears. Okay, what's the problem? Requirement value is not found of string value requirement. Um, I feel like it's lying to me. Hold on, guys. So it says so requirements if beta value is equal to money. So this beta requirements value. Oh, I see. My bad, guys. I put mistake here. I put requirements instead of requirement. It's supposed to just singular, not plural. So I doubt y'all put that as or even notice I put that, but yeah, make sure you don't have that. Okay, let's see now. There we go. Now, okay, so it now opens. The only issue is that they parents them to the same exact frame, which is wrong. Okay, we're getting close. Like I said, guys, it's 5 in the morning. Please cut me some slack. So we're gonna go back again to the local script. Find where you do the NPC frames right here. Okay. So this is supposed to go into the requirements frame, right? It's supposed to go into the requirements frame. Okay. Press play. So pair that to the requirements frame. There we go. There we go. I don't know if you guys can see it past the bat tool, but yeah. I'll just move this over. Actually so stupid. There we go. Okay. So look, you will unlock, so it shows what you will unlock base, multi, cache, then requirements. It shows the NPCs you also need, and then it's this same concept as the index system, right? Whenever you if you currently have the unit, it'll show up like you can see the unit. If you don't, it'll be grayed out. Keep in mind again, I made this just like the still Brainrot where um you have to currently have the unit. Like you can't just have owned it at one point in time. You have to currently have it. That's why Nubini is grayed out, despite me having had it in the past. So let's go ahead and test offline cache. So look at this, right? So $7. So if I stop testing, $14 was left. If I come back, look at that. We're already up to 49. If you're a little worried that it's moving quick, I can assure you it's not. I thought the same thing. I was worried the same thing. Keep in mind that it's a money per second, right? Just keep that in mind, right? It's money per second, which essentially means keep in mind when you click stop, this is already in itself like 4 seconds to stop since we have data saving. Then by the time you press play, already like 7 seconds have elapsed. Since this unit right here has top of deferral 7 seconds per minute. By that point in time, if you say 7 seconds have elapsed, it's already $49. So that's why it's going to be such big increases. But yeah, so as you can see, offline earnings clearly works. So that's perfect. Lastly, we just need to test the rebirth system. Okay, so where the hell is the rebirth button? Oh, it's right there. I was like, where is it? Okay, so let's go ahead and test this. So we need to make sure we have cache in the unit. So we could just insert the value to trick it, or we could just go by the unit. So I'm just gonna go by the unit. Watch, we now own the unit, right? If I click the rebirth again, we now have it, right? Boom. Okay, so I need the money. So I'm gonna switch to the server side again. Make sure you're changing values on the server side if you want them to save and actually work. We verify values on the server side. So I'm just gonna give myself a ton of money, right? That's yeah, 1 bill. Obviously we did not prepare for that. Okay. So now look what happens when I click rebirth. An error happens. Fantastic. Okay. Rebirth is not a valid member of my bad guys. I knew I was gonna make that mistake. Rebirth is just it's apparent just to play. Okay. So right here, remove the leader stats. This is supposed to say player.rebirth.value. My bad. This is on the server scripts inside of the on server core event on server event function. Scroll all the way down to the event type for rebirth. The stuff right where we're looking for the rebirth folder. So the specific rebirth folder. Okay. Now let's press play. Thankfully everything's saved, so we can just simply click rebirth and try again. Rebirth. It didn't work again. What now? Rebirth is not a valid member of the club. I'm so stupid. I forgot it's plural. It's plural, guys. Okay, this is actually plural, so put an S after this. Player.rebirths. Yeah, it's supposed to be. Wait, now that I think about it, did I put that with an S? Oh wait, no, I already saved that. But yeah, so player.rebirths. Did I put an S down here? I did. Okay. So yeah, it is with the S. It is plural. I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, 5 a.m. Don't know how many times I have to say it. Rebirth, and it's what, bro? What the hell? I'm like this close to crashing out because wait. Oh wait, Rebirth is a leader stat. I realized. Okay, my bad, guys. Okay, it's supposed to say leader. I swear I'm not trolling. Player.leaderstats.rebirths. Right. Rebirth is plural and it's inside of leader stats. Okay. Okay. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is not fine. What is the requirement? Requirements. I made the same mistake, guys. I made the same mistake. Guys, please forgive me. I'm so sorry. It's supposed to requirement value. I typed too fast and plus I'm tired. Singular, singular. Just required. The only thing, literally the only thing that's plural is just rebirths. That's the only thing that has an S. Everything else is just singular. So, okay. Pressing play now. That was like our fifth mistake. Dear God, how wait, it's weird. Hmm. I have everything, but there's no error, which means it's not a syntax error. Okay, hold on a second, guys. If not specific rebirth folder. What is my rebirth? Wait, my rebirth is set to 0, right? Rebirth. Hold on. Yep, set to 0, and then okay. Mm, that is weird. That is if player dot leader stats dot cache dot value is greater than or equal to. Yep, that's 1,000,000. Money requirement is equal to true. All NPC current NPC counts. If current NPC count is equal to all NPC counts. If money requirement and current NPC count is equal to. If f dot name is equal to. I mean, I can just double check this. If f. I see the problem right here. Yep, I knew it was right here. Okay, so go back to the server script, right? You guys see right here, again, we're still down here, event type rebirth, but we're checking the stuff right here. This is supposed to say if f dot value, not if f dot name, right? If f dot value, okay. So then we're gonna press play. I'm gonna click rebirth. Let's pray. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay. I pressed rebirth. Now it works. Okay. So as you can see, it got rid of all the units I currently own. It wiped my own units folder. Obviously, I still have them instead of all own units, right? Rebirths increased by 1. It set me with the default cache, right? Rebirths was updated to 1 and it cleared all my NPCs. And now we're up to rebirth 1. Now if I lock my, I'm gonna literally quit. Okay. That was one of the things that this is exactly why I wanted to test this. Okay. Go to the local scripts. You're going to go up. You're going to go to this part right here, wherever that is. Line third. Oh, that was a server script. My bad. Server script. Right here. This is supposed to be player.leader stats. I knew I made that mistake somewhere. Player.leader stats. Right. So add that. It's the beginning of the server script. So add that. This is exactly why I wanted to test everything at the end, especially the lock base, because I was like, I did not test that. Okay. There we go. So now we have 70 seconds, unlike the default 60 seconds. Okay, so yeah. Alright guys, I am so sorry. I know this video was long, literally an hour long. I made a lot of mistakes. I apologize, almost 6 o'clock in the morning. Please forgive me and stuff. But I did bring you guys what you guys have wanted for so long. Rebirths. I know people also want offline cash since it's a big thing of the game. As well as multipliers, which some people have asked for, and additional log based time. So yep. So yeah, as always, if you guys find any bugs, let me know and I will have those addressed by the next part. Continue showing these last couple of videos for the series, Love and Support, and I will, give you guys a few more videos before I wrap up the series and move on to other series. Thank you guys so much for the love and support you have shown on the channel, the series, and this video. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you all for watching.